And we are live. Yeah, I can't wait to try it out. I mean, it's like I imagine it'd feel like going from the 4.55 to the 4.57. It's just slicker than snot. And I'm sure they know how to. I mean,
and it's a three lug bolt design after their single shot, so it is quite a departure from their usual action, but
yeah.
Hey, same Thomas. But different. Hey, Thomas,
we are live. We are live.
Good. Hey, how was the range? Nice. I'm jealous. I truly am.
I feel like I got a shot, but on the wrong side of my shoulder.
Oh yeah, you were doing
before.
Yeah, oh, nice. I've got to come up there and shoot skeet. I've never shot skeet.
Really?
It looks like a ton of fun.
Well, I can't pretend to know much of what I'm doing. I just shoot. I've shot it, I don't know, 5 or 6 times now, with an old shotgun that sort of passed down.
Nice.
At some point, my grandfather and my dad. It's an old thing with just a wooden buttstock, so it beats me up pretty good.
Oh, that's the pump action you were talking about.
Yeah.
Nice. And the one that can slam fire.
Correct.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. That is so cool.
It makes the doubles pretty interesting.
So he's got to time your reloads.
That's so
I don't need that degree of difficulty addition. That's like equal to John's, his Ruger rebar with a 0.2 mil shift if he's using a bipod or something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's just too much. I mean,
is that shotgun a Remington, Thomas?
Stevens.
Stevens.
Okay. 19. I read about it at some point. I want to say 1930s Stevens, but it might be 50s. I'd have to check again.
Over under or side by side?
Just a pump.
Oh, pump, right? Yeah, sorry, yeah, pump.
Yeah, it's my grandfather's duck gun at the time. So
nice.
That's awesome.
I'm looking for a reasonably priced, good-looking over under.
I would love it. Every time I shoot around a skeet, I come out of there all like gon ho about buying a over under, and then it sort of tapers down. And I
get the vest, get the little ammo pouch.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, the ammo pouch might actually be on my cart now, because in the winter it's not a big deal. You just stuff the shells in your pocket. You've got your jacket. Yeah. But it was kind of dragging my pants down.
Oh, you're a little gangstery.
That's right, exactly.
So who did better tonight? Was it you or Colin?
Oh, Colin's deadly accurate with his his shotgun. Yeah,
is that the one that scored on 20 out of 25?
Yeah, it's a whole box, so it would be 25. I didn't even count score. I know he was counting score, but I didn't pay attention. I didn't break that many clays, so it wasn't worth it. But it's fun. I mean, every now and again you manage to hit a double, boom, boom, and it makes you feel really good. So.
That's awesome.
Tim Crosno, I miss you, buddy. You should be on this show. We could bring up the Texas militia.
Nice.
Apple Cedar. Miss you, buddy. And Kristen too. Sorry.
We're just about
on Facebook.
1 minute to count down.
1 minute to count down. Fundamentals.
What's the broad topic? Fundamentals?
Yeah, chit chat. Catch up on what everyone's been up to. We'll talk about the Delask sponsorship.
Ooh, yes. I saw that. That's awesome.
Oh, I know. He called me today, Rick. It's going out Friday. I haven't gotten it yet. He just sent me the pics.
A Delask build with kid parts is hard to beat.
Yeah, it looks pretty slick. Did you see it already, Thomas?
I just saw your post as I was fishing around for the link for.
It has a sweet Cerakote job on it too.
Yeah. Maybe I'll
it's a very good looking rifle.
It. Yeah. I can't wait.
I noticed they Cerakoted the bolt. It looks like is that what happened?
I didn't.
Let me go back to this.
Maybe. I don't think the side really matters that much.
That barrel with that matte gray just looks.
It looks
fantastic.
Pretty sweet. It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah, and it's going to be given away at the end of the season.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're just gonna
to a Rimfire team member, right?
Yeah, that's how it goes.
All right, we'll do the intro and then we'll go live. Stand by. Hey, shooters! Welcome to episode 17 of the Rimfire Nation podcast. This week we talk about the most important tool in your arsenal, and that is your marksmanship fundamentals. Whether you have it, whether you don't, we'll talk about why you need to get some. We'll also cover kind of what we've been doing, general chit chat, catch up with the guys. It's always nice to hang out with the Rimfire Nation and the CRPS staff, team, crew. As always, the Rimfire Nation podcast is proudly brought to you by testroad.ca. Past episodes of the podcast are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, and on the Canadian Rimfire Precision Series YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us get the word out. Let us drift over to Testro to see what he's got this week, what they have this week. Oh, first let me add John. Hey, John.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, John.
What's going on, John?
Jump over to Testro to see what they've got. And oh yes, slowly the CRKT knives are coming in. This profile I like, the seismic deadbolt folder. Also the CZ mini sets are there, and as well as a plate for the CZ75 for Delta Point, the loophole Delta Point. 1 second, let me scroll around in there. He still got the amazing deal on the Ely Contact, Ely Action. It's worth trying out. And CZP10. The mini set for the 17 HMR 20-inch barrel is on sale, $60 off, $239. So for you guys with a 455 or 457, this is your chance to get a 17 HMR for $240. I'm tempted. I've got probably 500 rounds of 17 HMR downstairs in my safe.
It's a very fun round too.
The round looks badass too. it's got assassin written all over it. I don't know if I could stand the punishing recoil of the 17 HMR. But that was actually the second rifle I ever owned was the 17 HMR, the Savage 93. I loved it. Anyway, that's it from testroad.ca. So thanks, Asmi, for those awesome deals. I'm waiting for him to stock some CZ shotguns. Nice over and under. They've got a nice lineup of shotguns. So I'm hoping that one day, fingers crossed, he will have that. Hey, so what's everybody been doing? Anything interesting? Today, my interesting thing was Lee from Delask Arms called me saying that the Delask Arms Tough 22 is shipping Friday. That's the one I posted today. Let me see if I can find it. 1 second. It is a pretty badass build. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate the support. Hang on. Where to go? Notification. I can't find it. Oh, there it is. All right. Let me share this. Let me share this. 1 second. So this is such a nice build. So what he's got in there. So it's a Tough 22 flat top with 20 MOA Picatinny rail. It's kid parts with all the Delask stuff added onto it. 20-inch match barrel, kid 2-stage trigger pack, which arguably is like among the best 1022 triggers available. Scallop bolt nitride finish. Delask MDT CNC aluminum chassis, skeletonized buttstock, and this Cerakote job. Can you guys see that all right?
Yep.
See that right? Yeah. Sexy. It looks pretty nice. That's the money shot right there.
Yeah, that's
Pardon my ignorance, but what chassis is this of MDT?
It's the Delask Arms MDT.
Yeah, it's like a collab between Delask and MDT.
Yeah, it's pretty sexy. Oh man, look at that! Oh, that's a killer.
Oh, it has a threaded muzzle, huh?
Yeah, for the Loudinators.
Yeah.
I know John's itching to get a semi-auto, right, John? That's right up your alley, right buddy?
I wasn't aware, but it could be.
Wait, I could spend $5,000 on a semi-auto. Where do I sign up? So thanks, Lee. Looking forward to that. And again, as we mentioned in the Facebook group, we are going to be raffling that off at the end of the year to a lucky shooter. So you must shoot an X22 match to be part of the running. And we'll have that obviously as a loaner rifle and a demo rifle. So we'll probably be putting a fun stage somewhere in there, and the winner of that fun stage, so won't count for points, but the winner of that fun stage will go home with a nice prize that we haven't figured out yet. So yeah, everyone will get a chance to try that out, and we're going to be putting a Vortex optic on that. Hopefully it's a Venom, but we'll see. They're currently out of stock right now, so we talked about that already last couple of episodes. Hey, so it's new, Matt, John, Thomas. What have you been up to?
Oh, just trying to keep the wolf away from the door.
Go ahead, man.
I've been trying to prepare for some matches. IBI shipped me my barrel this week, so I should be receiving that next week sometime, I think, and I can slap it on the CZ.
What'd you get?
I got a custom length, so he offers it usually in like 18, 20, or 22. I asked for a 21 just to be difficult, just to get enough length off the ACC so I can mount my magneto speed on it properly, because the 20 is just a little bit too short. So I asked him for a 21-inch fluted 1 in 16 twist. Yeah.
Like a straight fluted or a spiral fluted?
Spiral. I don't think IBI does straight fluting.
I don't know.
No,
I figure anyone that can get a 21-inch barrel can get straight fluted.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I also forgot. The most important part of this entire thing is that it has threads, so I can stick my tuner on it, and then we'll be complete. So, yep.
This going to match rifle?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna do some testing with it. I have two 457, so I can do side by side stuff.
I've lost track of how many rifles you have now, Matt.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put this on my other 457 for now until I get a few hundred rounds down through it and get to know it a little bit better, and then I'll probably stick it on my match rifle. So.
Nice. How about you, John? What have you been up to?
Mostly positional practice the last while. My spreadsheet's failing. What's going on? And cancel. Okay, I'll stop. This last week. Well, even last week, I think we're very busy right now, so I haven't been shooting this week. But
has it been hot out there for you guys?
Yeah, we're up 32. High humidity. Fortunately, we're 3 floors up, and we have a breeze, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, Dave's waiting on your video from the weekend, Matt. What video from what match?
Yeah, I saw that comment. I've been reviewing the footage. It was so windy. The audio is basically just like the entire time. So I'll probably dub over a bunch of music, no doubt.
We'll have to get a GoFundMe and get you a dead cat for your mic.
I have one. I have a very aggressive dead cat, and it was still like I have a foam cover and a dead cat over that, and it's just still all wind. It was insane. Like constant 10 mile per hour with gusts of up to 17. So
yeah, all the guys in the prairies going 17. That'd be a calm day for us.
Yeah, no, it was definitely an experience for me. That was the windiest I've ever shot precision rimfire in, for sure.
It's been windy. Yeah, more
a challenge.
More in the west. There's always a wind out there.
Yeah.
We had like the most unstable props while the highest winds. I think it was medicine hat. We bought like a tire on a rope KYL at 100. It was like, brilliant.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he wasn't. I was not a popular match director that day. Hey Thomas, what are you up to, man? What have you been up to?
Pretty busy with work, but still finding the time to. We've pretty much resumed our little Wednesday night practice, which is great. Just had one today. And last Saturday was actually pretty awesome. I got to hit the range by myself because most of my shooting buddies were traveling that weekend. But it was really nice to do some ammo testing on my son's gray birch semi-auto. So
nice.
It was just one of those days you get into the zone, and next thing I knew, 4 or 5 hours had passed. So it was a good day.
That's pretty sweet.
So we're talking fundamentals.
We're talking fundamentals, but before we do that, I don't know how many people are aware that we have the Vortex monthly challenge targets, and this is appropriate because Matt posted his.
Yeah, it's funny because I forget about those quite often. But the other day, Kevin and I was going to the range. We're like, well, we have nothing to practice for. He's like, oh, why don't you just print off those Vortex challenges? That's a good idea. And then Dory saw me printing them off. She's like, I want to shoot one. So we brought her to the range, and she had a blast. Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
So for those that don't know, you'll have to join the Canadian Rimfire Precision Series group in Facebook. It's a private group, so you'll have to request to join. You have to answer the questions before we let you in. There's easy questions. I mean, no one reads the answers. It's just the fact that you take the time to answer the questions is the important part. And every month, Vortex sponsors a challenge target, and I'll show you what the current target is. It's June bugs. Let me add Kevin first. Hey, Kev.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, buddy.
What's going on, Kevin?
Oh, sorry I'm late. It's because I was cleaning my exclusive CRPS cup.
Just keep rubbing it in.
So we're just going to finish this. So this is the Vortex Monster Challenge, number 5, June bug. So we actually have these. So in the files section of the Facebook group, we have all 5 of those, and each course of fire is different. You'll print it out, print as many as you want. I'll put it at 25 or 50, whatever you want. The key thing is just to print it out and shoot it. The instructions are there. And then take a picture of any one of your shot targets and then post it as a comment to the original post. And each month we will pick 3 names from the people that have posted their targets, and you'll get some sweet Vortex swag. So that's a great way to keep your fundamentals going. Or to build some. So that's all I got to say about that. Hey, Kevin.
How's everybody doing?
Excellent.
We are awesome. We are awesome. So this week's topic is fundamentals. And again, wherever you are, whatever you've done, the key thing is to get some proper instruction. There are many great organizations across Canada that different rifle associations offer. I know some clubs have some practice nights, and the Stittsville Mafia here has their Wednesday night get together. So it could be something informal as that, or formal, like taking a Project Maple Seed course. This is not going to be a Project Maple Seed episode, but it is the only one that I know of that is out there. And I know that we're starting to book, and I know restrictions are lifting, so we're going to be going like gangbusters in a couple of weeks' time. So mapleseedrifleman.com is where you can find that. So from a marksmanship perspective, so where I learned my marksmanship and what I practice now is basically what I learned at Appleseed, and the very first Maple Seed that I attended before I became implicated in it. I don't know how many people know the history, but Project Maple Seed was started out by Doug out in Bancroft, Ontario. He's actually the guy that started up Project Maple Seed, very first one. Invited some Project Appleseed members up from New York State to instruct at the very first Maple Seed. And then Kelly, Kevin, Mario, and Stacy and I got involved later on as part of kind of taking on the responsibility of growing that organization because Doug didn't have time. And that's where we are. So that's where I learned. And I still practice in all the 3 positions. And when I can, the barricades. So, but yeah, so why don't we go around and just chat about our marksmanship experience and kind of what we're working on. And so folks can get a sense of kind of, you know, do I sound like that? Did I start? And the reason I got into marksmanship was I was working toward competing at the national level in service rifles. So that's the whole drive, was to build that skill set. And I used all that to get to the national level, just using what I learned at Project Appleseed and eventually Project Maple Seed. So yeah, that was my goal. Matt, how about you, man?
Well, my first real experience with fundamentals was just ORPS matches. Like, there's always at least one stage where it's offhand, sling only, and obviously I was suffering at those stages. So I learned about maple seed, and then Kevin, it was Kevin, Robert, and I. We all took a maple seed together last summer, which was my first formal, like, sit down. This is actually how you're supposed to shoot your rifle offhand, not just kind of holding it in the general direction. So that was actually a lot of fun. I learned so much that day. I also learned how to properly use my sling, which I was basically misusing up until that point. And I think ever since then, what I learned that day, I try and implement. Like, I think NPOA, natural point of aim, is important no matter what type of shooting you're doing. And even if you're resting on a barricade or something, it does come into play. It's something that I think when we shoot rimfire, especially, it's easier to ignore because the recoil management is not as crucial in some ways, or I should say it's not as obvious if you're not doing it properly. But, if you don't have good natural point of aim and you pull off a bad shot, it still affects you shooting rimfire. You might just not be as aware of it, right? Because you don't have that heavy push into your shoulder. So I try and keep that in mind. Like, if my shot doesn't feel steady, I try not to just pull bad shots off now. So it definitely helps regardless of whether or not you do a lot of offhand shooting. Nice. Yeah.
Thomas, what about you, man?
Pretty similar story, I guess. I think after my first NRL 22 match at the time, I realized that I needed a little bit of help. So I started looking into marksmanship, and I think I saw a video somewhere that mentioned Appleseed. And since I traveled to the US quite a bit, I figured, hey, you know what? I'm going to sign up for one of those. There was one not too far from where I tend to go, only to find out that it's not open to a non-US citizen. So then I did a little bit more digging and ended up taking the maple seed with you. Where was it? Petawawa, I think, was the first one that I attended. Then I attended one with Kelly here in Stittsville. And as much as possible, I tried to apply the principles that are part of, or that are taught in everything, whether it's a barricade, prone, offhand, as much as I can. And I think Matthew just touched on that, is building the discipline of not rushing a shot unless you're stable. Once the clock starts, it's so easy to just try to send them all down range. But holding back, it's a good sign of, I guess, shooter maturity. Slow hits rather than fast misses. But that's basically it. I try to apply it everywhere. It doesn't matter. But I need to remind myself at least once or twice a match to slow down, go back to the fundamentals, don't take a shot, if your breathing is not right, or all this, all the little details that go into it.
Right.
I didn't know Appleseed was only for American citizens. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah.
ITAR type thing.
Oh, okay.
Exporting knowledge.
Knowledge. You're training enemy militia.
Wait, so is Maple Seed only for Canadian citizens?
No. So that ruling happened 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. Non-residents, non-residents may not take the course.
I didn't know that. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's just non-residents? Because at the time, I still had my address, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Tim Cross knows, but we won't get into that, Tim. We've got our maple seed. We figured a way around it.
Yeah.
Hey, John, how about you, man? You had any formal marksmanship training other than the John Gingrich shooting complex?
I did, a little too late in a sense. I took the training that Ryan and Ken Thiessen put on.
Oh yeah,
down in Ilmer there.
Nice.
Oh, what's the place called?
East Elgin.
East Elgin, yes.
Yeah.
And I would highly recommend someone do that early on, because you're not going to have any bad habits to undo if you developed any.
Yeah.
And you're not going to go through the whole process, or not have to go through the whole process of discovering what works. It's this is what works. It gives you a good base to start from, and it's going to jump you ahead thousands and thousands of rounds. And I was shooting centerfire, thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So highly recommend training to start out, and it's going to give you that base to get started, and then you're going to tweak and see what works for your body type. And it's going to take a lot of effort and time to train your mind as to what your natural point of aim feels like in different positions. But once you get that in your subconscious, you'll drop right into place, and you'll know this is not right, and you'll know exactly how much to move your feet or whatever it is, depending on your position, and it's your subconscious taking over. But to get there is going to take a lot of work, and it's not necessarily fun, like going out shooting pop cans, having fun. That's not going to do it. It takes diligent, mindful practice to train that subconscious.
Exactly. Kevin, how about you, man? What's your background, marksmanship wise?
Formal marksmanship. I guess the first time I shot a rifle was in the military, and that's where I learned the very slow, painstaking way of how to shoot a rifle. And then at my first range, I ended up, I think, pretty close to the top with almost 100% score. Nice. I think that's when I started gaining an interest in firearms.
I might be good at this.
Hey, I found something. Yay!
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is kind of
that's
cool.
awesome.
And then I don't know, maybe 2 years later, I bought my first couple rifles. In terms of formal training, it would be the CF, and then I did IDPA and the black badge course for IDPA and IPSC, which was good because shooting pistols takes a lot of trigger control and stuff. Yeah. So that definitely, I think, helps on the rifle side. And then beyond that, I took. Sorry, gotta turn that off. Beyond that, I took a PRS course with Barney. That was in 2018, right before starting CRPS. And then finally a maple seed. So that's everything that I've done. I think the thing that has helped me the most is the fact that I've shot maybe, 5,000 groups at a target, which is a little unreasonable, but yeah.
John's going, those are rookie numbers.
I'm quick doing the math and saying, that sounds about right.
I think really it comes down to the fact that I'm extremely I wouldn't say I'm obsessive. I don't have an obsessive compulsive disorder or anything like that. But when it comes to trying to get something, I want to get it perfect. Because I chased after that for so long. I mean, I've forgotten about it now, but I chased after those really tight groups that it's kind of trained that into me subconsciously. Because now I don't even think about the fundamentals. We did the maple seed 2 weeks ago, and I don't think I even thought about my breathing once. And definitely during a stage or a match, I'd never even think about it once. Right. It's not something that comes to mind. I just shoot.
Well, that's a good question. So who wants to try and define what fundamentals are? So if you're a brand new shooter, what are those things that you're supposed to be trying to work on, right? You hear about marksmanship fundamentals. Well, what are the marksmanship fundamentals? Someone want to take a stab at it?
I think I'll let the maple seed instructors take this one.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, there's definitely like a doctrine way of explaining this. I think it starts with body and then like eye, target alignment, and then trigger finger or something.
And then,
yeah.
Well, I mean, so there's a steady, solid position, right? A solid shooting position. You can't shoot good groups with a shitty position. And that's, you have to be stable. So you can't be rocking back and forth. And the key is, it's all about skeletal support versus muscular support, right? So if you're holding yourself with muscles will fatigue, whereas your skeletal structure won't. So it's finding a good solid base to shoot from. I think that's the first fundamental. And the other fundamental is, Maple Seed, we talk about the 6 steps of firing the perfect shot. Right, and there's a whole host of stuff in there.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
but it goes. What is it? Sight alignment, sight picture. Oof. That hurts.
You're gonna stay in training for a while, Thomas.
Yes, I haven't been doing a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean it's the most important, I think, is the trigger application, right, and follow through. Those are the. I mean, we're not going to divulge the secret sauce right here, but you know, the way Frank Galley explained it was, you know, the trigger is the steering wheel to your gun. What you do to that trigger affects the direction that your gun is going to behave, or where your bullet eventually is going to go. So if you have a 5-pound rifle and you apply 6 pounds of force on your trigger, you're gonna send that somewhere that you don't know. So it's all about, you know, letting off that trigger just to the point it fires and not an ounce more, and then follow through, which is basically just keeping the rifle stable until the shot has left the barrel, basically. And then the third fundamental is the natural point of aim, which many of you have already mentioned, and that's really just, you know, your body and rifle naturally align toward the target without you influencing it with muscle. So you're not forcing it. So when people are aiming, what do? They move the rifle over as opposed to repositioning their body so that they're naturally aligned to the target. So I'm just reading the comments. Yeah, all the middle bits that we skipped out there.
There's one that's been missed, and I think it's quite crucial. It's called the triangulation to the ground. The way you accomplish this one is with a tripod.
That's the fourth fundamental?
Yes.
The triangulation.
That one's a fundamental, yeah.
Yeah. Carbon fiber fundamental?
No, aluminum works as well.
Aluminum, okay.
Yeah.
That's it. So
thinking about the follow through, like Frank would call that the forgotten fundamental. And
yeah.
I guess I'm firmly in his camp.
Yeah.
He has some very good points, particularly when we start talking high recoiling rifles and some of his other stuff. And when we talk competition, there's other things that might work better. But when it comes to fundle through, that doesn't work. Fundamentals and follow through. I am very, very strict on myself for that. And while I naturally am a fast shooter, I want that pause. And when you break that shot, well, Rick mentioned, if you got a 5-pound rifle and you pull 6 pounds on the trigger, you're going to move your rifle. And if you pull 3 of those pounds backwards and 2 of them sideways, your rifle's going to move off the side. So you got to execute that perfect press, pull, whatever you want to call it, on the trigger. Yeah. But you cannot over pull the trigger. And some triggers have more over travel, so I would feel it's actually easier to make that break and then stop. So you're not coming against that stop. And then you want to stop. You don't want to move, you don't want to anything. Just observe. And a lot of guys, you see them, they shoot, they're panicking, time's running out, I gotta go.
Yeah.
And that's not the place to make up your time, because our subconscious is faster than our mental capacity. So if you train yourself to shoot and move, the subconscious is going to outrun your conscious. And you consciously think, pull the trigger, and your subconscious goes, break, move.
Yeah.
And you're going to start breaking before you are done with the actual igniting.
That's really interesting, because there was a poll recently in the CRPS group about making a steady shot, and follow through as one of the poll answers. And then Kevin made kind of like a sarcastic comment, like nobody got time to wait for the shot, like just pull the trigger and move. And it's funny because it started a discussion in the comments about, you know, whether or not people like to follow through, you know, proper, like, versus just pull the shot off and move. Like hopefully you hear the ding and you move to the next position. I think it was really interesting seeing the different opinions of
I mean, you have to develop a cadence.
There should be something to be said with that comment, though. Kevin is actually right in a sense, because if you've trained, your fundamentals are sound, your follow through is sound, you can consciously choose shoot and go.
Yeah.
and it's not going to affect you. So if you're running a PRS skill stage and you want to run it in the low 30s, there's your first shot you break and you'll watch, but beyond that, she's break and move.
Yeah,
and so that's entirely doable.
It's like a service rifle. We got a falling plate stage, right? Where you can't wait for it. Know that you've got a good trigger pull, and then move on to the next one before that plate has finished spinning and fallen on the ground, because you're on the clock. You got to move. So
but if as a new shooter, absolutely do not go there.
Yeah,
you have to develop the proper process first.
Yeah, slow your roll, hot rod. Exactly.
I was actually just practicing that this afternoon, where, I took a few shots that were in a hurry, and after I finished a stage, Robert said, "Did you not notice that every single time your plate was spinning the same way, and whenever I missed, the plate was telling me exactly I was right on the edge, and I wasn't listening." So that follow through is a good moment to, see where that shot hit. You might not have seen where it impacted, but the plate will tell you if you were centered, if you were low, if you were high. So past that point, I sort of made it an effort to stay on target and analyze how the target was moving. So.
Yeah. So I think if I was going to give advice to the first time competitors, it would be slow down. Just like I would give to the first MQT, the first Maple Seed qualification targets people shoot. It becomes a shit show when everyone's trying to cycle and fire as fast as they can, because that clock is brutal. It's vicious.
Where it impacted.
Yeah, like stage 2, 55 seconds, right? No one will finish all 10 rounds. So everyone tries to speed up and all the other ones, and they just end up throwing shots away. It's like, I'd rather get 4 solid shots than 10 shitty shots, right? And I think that's what's important for new shooters is take your time, get yourself aligned to the target where you're not using any muscle to orient yourself to the target, right? You're just naturally oriented, and then cycle and fire that, press that trigger slowly and gently and watch it make impact, and then determine whether it was a solid straight on impact, because it's going to swing back and forth, or if it's twisting left or twisting right, then hopefully you're going to see some impact, and knowing which way it's favoring right now, and then make an adjustment if you can. So just slow down. I would say ignore the clock, right? Just fire off the best shots you can.
Easier said than done.
I know. But some guys just want to go, and they just go berserk, right? And they just want to, I got all 10 in that 2-minute time limit. But the goal is hits. It's not how many shots, right? It's no one cares about the total rounds expended. It's all about total hits. So slow down is probably the easiest, is the first advice I'd give. So
on that slow down note, because I naturally tend to shoot fast, the first stage of a match, I will purposely go extra slow. And because that first stage, your energy's up, it's let's go, you're excited, and you can't afford that. It's just like slow down. And I've timed out twice now on a match, and one of those was the first stage. I was taking my time. I think I only got 8 out of 10 shots off, but if I would have rushed that stage, I still might have only got 8 out of 10, right?
Yeah.
So you can't think of it as lost, because you could have lost anyway. Be happy you make 8 solid hits.
Plus you're also building you're building muscle memory, right? If you shoot fast all the time, you're never gonna learn how to shoot deliberately. So practice is also the same way. So maybe it's good to practice with the clock, maybe it's bad to practice with the clock. It really it depends on the personality, but you have to train yourself to be a disciplined shooter where you're actively participating in the shooting process, not just yanking and moving on. It's come up with a step process that slows you down, and then eventually that'll speed up as you naturally get into position faster and acquire the target faster, and are able to deliberately press that trigger faster without over pressing.
Yeah.
So
I think all of us here probably practice on the clock. So.
Yeah, it's worthwhile. it's worthwhile. And for new shooters, it's maybe focus on how long it takes you to get that first shot. And Rob was saying, he's hoping to acquire the target within 10 seconds to the first shot. So that's something to strive to, your first hit, right? As long as you get a first hit on that first shot, then you're doing something right. But if you're getting 5 seconds to first shot, but you're missing it, then that's not really, that's not really perfect practice. So
yeah, to try for 10 seconds, especially as a newer shooter, I think is kind of foolish. 15 seconds, just chill out, and you'll do a lot better.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you'll be shooting 12 seconds and not really know that you got there. 10 seconds is actually very fast.
Yeah, because that's what I do when I'm working a line at Maple Seed. I watch the groups, the first rounds downrange after the stage starts, and I watch it slowly decrease over the afternoon till, maybe it's 20s, 17s that'll go down below 15s, and then you got a couple that'll be in the 12 seconds. Again, I don't know what the scores are, but you can see that they're not rushing. They're just into it faster. They're able to get into position, because after a while, if you're consciously working under your solid base and your natural point of aim, you will be a natural point of aim without having to adjust. So it just becomes instinctive at that point. And then you'll have to move on to the next conscious act that you want to turn into your subconscious, which is trigger press and your breathing. So Comic Sniper saying, what about the saying you miss 100% of the shots you don't take?
I was trying to say that, but there wasn't an opportunity without me interrupting everyone.
Oh, sorry, Kevin. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just like, well, what about the shots you don't take? That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I guess the rebuttal to that is, you miss 100% of the shots that you rush.
Yeah. Yeah. True. And that's the thing. So again, for the new shooter, the goal isn't to finish the stage with all 10 rounds downrange. That's not the goal. The goal is to get a very high hit percentage with the rounds you take, right? With the shots that you take. I think if you focus on that, and as a new shooter, a new competitor, I would say focus on all the stages that are 150 yards and closer. Yes. Those are the ones that you should not be missing. If you're missing those, then your fundamentals need working, right? Forget about downrange, because that's dope and that's wind and trajectory and all that stuff. But 150 yards and in, you should be focusing on getting that hit percentage higher with every match. And if you're not, then focus on set it up that when you're practicing, you're practicing at that distance to see what you need to work on, whether it's trigger press or stable position or natural point of aim.
That's one area where shooting at paper can be it tells a good story.
Yeah.
Shooting steel is fun because it rings and all that, but shooting paper at at the same distance that we would see on a CRPS and from the same barricades will reveal some interesting patterns in where your shots place. Yeah. So it's boring, but it's valuable.
I don't know about a good story, Thomas.
Oh.
It'll tell the actual story. It'll move from fiction to nonfiction.
It'll tell the truth, the cold hard truth.
Yeah, could be in the horror section after that. But I guess that's the thing, though. So what most people struggle with is finding places to practice, right, or to do this, because a lot of certainly Quebec, you can't shoot prone, you can't shoot off a barricade. You can't shoot standing up. You got to shoot off the bench at most of the clubs here, unless you've got private land, right? So that's the only thing. And I think one of the things I'd love to do is set up just encourage people to get groups together and find a friendly farmer. I know Benjamin Pinnell, published his process for scoring his place to practice, which works. He did the homework and he found his place, and now it's his private, shooting complex. So there's just look him up, Benjamin Pinnell, and he'll be more than happy to share his secrets to success at finding that's like those Tom Vu get rich quick infomercials.
If you go in CRPS, if you go to the files section, I think you gotta go to
what's in there
on the right, and then you go more files. You'll see it's one of them. It's how to find land to shoot on or something.
Yeah.
It's a very well presented document. I was quite impressed when I saw it.
And it works. It works for him. So, yeah. What else?
Yeah, shooting paper, I would feel doing dot drills 50 yards is more beneficial than shooting steel at 200 yards.
Yeah.
Until you have solid fundamentals, you can make that good shot. How do you know if your wind call was off?
Right.
Maybe it was you. So just start with the basics. Don't get too excited. Don't be too hard on yourself. And
use the Vortex Marksman Challenge. All of them are based around a 1/4 inch target, and it's different strings of fires, different sequences. It's single shots, it's multiple shots, it's groups, it's ladders. And then if you clean it at 25, move it further, move it to 30, 35, all the way out to 50 if you want. So it's not a shoot once and forget. It's something that should be a stack printed in your bag all the time and say, hey, I'm just going to do this, and maybe change positions, right? So if you're tired of shooting just at the regular bullseye, I mean, these are great ways to mix it up. And if you get adventurous, you can drop the times, right? So there's many ways of using those targets to keep it fresh and keep it interesting. And, like the Stittsville Mafia guys, they'll shoot as a competition, 2 minutes, whoever scores the highest, because each one is scoreable. So you can get a bunch of buddies together and shoot it at the same time. Your own little mini match, paper mini match. So, and Chris W., I am working on getting that on the website for those who don't have Facebook. So there'll be on the main page, there'll be a link to the Vortex Marksman Challenge. So I'll just keep adding to that as we publish each one. So thanks for that. Yes, it was one of those things I was supposed to do. Yeah, I'm gonna have to yell at my web team. Slacker.
I just noticed that one of the comments on a son who shoots left-handed with a right-handed rifle.
Yeah.
Teach him to shoot right-handed, and people are going to scream, no, no, no. I believe Frank Galley is actually left-eye dominant, and he shoots right-handed. If I have that straight, my wife, she shoots right, she's left-eye dominant. I can take you to a whole list of people, and they can both shoot with both eyes open. Myself, I'm right eye. I can shoot right or left, both eyes looking. I can keep both eyes open. It is actually trainable. Where that advice strongly comes from is shooting trap. So if you're going to shoot a shotgun, instinctive shooting like that, I don't know if it's impossible, but it's very difficult to fight your dominant eye. But with a rifle and an optic, I expect that you will be able to train him to function 100% shooting right while being left eye dominant, and still be able to use both eyes. But anyhow, little sidetrack.
Now we see that too at Maple Seed. We'll just put a piece of tape over the other eye that we want to stop them using. So get them a pair of iPro with a piece of tape over it.
I'm actually naturally left eye dominant. I think I mentioned this before, but I shoot with both eyes open more than I don't. But I had to overcome my left eye dominance when I started archery, because I actually tried to use a left-handed bow, and it was easier for me to use a right-handed bow with the wrong eye than a left-handed bow with my right eye. So that's when I decided I was going to do the right-hand stuff.
I never thought about that.
It was weird though, because I remember I was trying to look through. It was a compound bow, so it was a peep sight, and there's no way you can look through a peep sight on your bow with your left eye. So I had to get used to that. It was very strange. But I guess the benefit of that is now I'm pretty comfortable doing off or support side stages, because I can look through my scope with my left eye quite easily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you got to practice
and if you're going to practice both, even if you're a right-handed shooter entirely and you want to shoot support side, it's something you have to learn. And that's where, for me, I started doing that way back, and I'm like, what? This works. I can use both eyes. Am I mixed up, or don't I really have a dominant eye? And I mess with it and say, yeah, I'm sure I have a dominant eye, but it works. And that's when I got looking, and then I realized, this is a few years ago, but I realized that I think it's Frank. He is left eye dominant. I didn't even know that about you.
So Frank Galley has the Everyday Sniper podcast for those that are interested in a great sometimes rambling conversation about aliens.
Very sarcastic.
It's people love him, people hate him. I love listening to Frank. He's got some great topics, and he covers fundamentals. And I thought my bucket list is actually take one of his courses. But
Frank Galley is the sniper's hide guy, right?
Yeah,
Not
correct.
The other guy is Todd
Hartnett.
Yeah,
Hartnett.
That's the Kestrel. Is it horse?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. For some reason I get them confused all the time.
Yeah.
You guys just made me remember with that conversation that whenever I first got my PAL, the first gun I bought was a Mossberg 500 that I was going to use and how to shoot trap, like a long-barreled one, and I broke my right collarbone. Like,
oh no!
Oh, seriously?
Well, not quite that week, but like a couple weeks prior to me receiving my license in hand. So then I got it. I'm like, okay, well, listen, I got a gun. My arm's barely healed. What am I going to do? I'm like, okay, I'm just going to shoot with my left. So when I first got my own gun, I was shooting trap with my left.
Oh my gosh! Oh man!
Did you hit anything?
Oh yeah, like I basically learned. I ended up with out of 25, maybe 18 hits, 17 hits, and I learned how to shoot with my left side.
Oh, we need to do a CRPS staffer skeet event.
Yeah,
that's funny.
I'm staying at home. I don't like losing that well.
Yeah, well, I've learned to love losing, John, because that's the only thing that I do really well. I'm happy to learn.
It allows us to celebrate small victories.
That's right, man. That's right. So little things. So marksmanship fundamentals. So what are the other pieces of advice that we need that should we impart, like based on our? So practicing is important. If all you do is shoot matches, you're never going to get better, right? A match is not the time to be trying something new. So whether you can only get out once, just get out that one more time a month. And again, use those Vortex challenge, marksmanship challenge targets. That will help you develop more than just shooting bullseyes, because it simulates the course of fire. It simulates strings of fire, right? And dry fire, absolutely dry fire. As long as you know what you're looking for. And that is really just, find a target, find a stable position, do a great trigger press where you're just barely breaking the trigger smoothly and not disturbing the rifle. And then make sure that, you're doing proper follow through. And those are the things. So it's practice. And the best way to practice is to get with a group of people. And people are sometimes reluctant or intimidated trying to reach out to people. Don't be afraid to approach people, hey, where do you live? Maybe we can hang out or shoot, whatever. I mean, just don't be that creepy guy, but just, just be genuinely interested that, you're trying to learn.
Line, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like just be careful,
What's your exact street address?
Yeah. Well, you smell different when you're asleep.
I on the note, you said, Rick, I don't know. I think I might be the only person who does this, and I've only done it a handful of times. I'm answering to this dry fire ! Comment, which I think is very true, and I'm sure we've touched on dry fire before. In your basement, if you have 10 yards, 15 yards, some scopes go down that low. Dry fire, without a doubt, is hugely beneficial. If you have yourself a little pad, you can practice a lot and get all of your position and all that wasted time. You can just do it in your basement. Waste that time in your basement. Don't just fire rounds down range, especially if you don't have access to a range. That's not what I'm talking about, though. What I've done for 3 matches now, maybe 4 matches, is whenever the course of fire is published, I put aside about an hour to maybe 10, 15 minutes to look through the course of fire, and then another 45 minutes or so to actually practice the more difficult stages that are in that course of fire. And when I say practice, I mean it's a 4 target stage. I'll just put up like T1, T2, T3, T4 on the far end of my basement. I'm not shooting, like just dry fire practice, but I'll go through the process of, okay, I already have my dope and everything, so I'm going to do this. Does it make more sense for me to dial it or hold it? And especially, that's why I file through the course of fire, and I look at, okay, that looks easy. It's a troop line. I'm not even going to bother. But this one is like, okay, left to right and then right to left and then up and down and then side to side. It's like, oh my God, like that's so confusing.
It's a John match.
Yeah. So taking the moment to study ahead of time, there's practice is great, but studying specific courses of fire so you're not stumped when you show up there.
And it's paid off for you, right, Kevin? You placed well. You placed top 3 at the last match.
Last match, yeah. I'm consistent. I think I'm fairly consistent. I finished 3rd place in production when I shot production. Finished 3rd place last year in open overall, and now I finished 3rd place. I'm consistently 3rd. Yeah, the 3rd place is great though, because 3rd place is first winner, 2nd place is first loser. So I'm okay.
Is that how it is?
And then you want me in the 1st place? Well, that's just too much pressure, because then the next time you have to perform just as well. So 3rd place, it's the sweet spot.
That was wise words. Very wise words, Kevin.
Sounds like someone who's trying to get used to that spot. Hey, I just want to address. So Nick Godin mentioned you can't fire. He said that I said that can't fire prone in Quebec. That's basically the ranges aren't based on they're not allowed to let you shoot prone. So like the ranges I've been to, I think that might be different at other ranges, but again, their template or whatever they've been allowed to do is that you can only shoot from the bench at the ranges I've been to. So maybe there's some ranges that allow you to shoot prone, but it's not a law that you can't shoot prone, but the range isn't allowed to let you shoot prone based on how their licensing. Right.
So baffles.
You're muted, Kevin.
It's because they need baffles to protect from ricochet. So if you're prone, you can like
right.
But if you're on if his question is about private land, you can do whatever you want on private land as long as you're being safe.
Or as long as no one sees you.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that publicly. As long as
you're being safe. Well, I'm not here to judge you. I'm just saying everyone's got to be smart and don't do stupid things. It goes without saying.
That's right.
Yeah.
So Kevin was talking about going through the matchbook. I'm not guilty of that myself, but I think it brings up another really good point. Kevin goes through the book and he looks, he's like, oh, this easy stage. Ooh, yeah, this is going to be tough. That comes through practice. And I think all of us here, we've shot enough now. We go through a matchbook. We know which stages are going to be our hard stages, probably. But starting in, you don't know. And if you do a dry fire session and go through each stage, you get an idea. It's like, I'm going to run out of time on this stage. If I'm going to do proper fundamentals, I need to save time somewhere. What am I going to do? Am I going to hold instead of dialing? Well, maybe that's not going to be enough. Well, at that point, okay, there's 12 shots in this stage. I'm only going to go for 10. Mm-hmm. And you have that ahead. So when you get there, you have this plan. I'm not going all out. I'm not going to rush. I know I only have the time to do 10 properly. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a very valuable.
Yeah. That exercise also allows you, in the interest of saving time, let's say that you've got a 3 MOA target at 150 yards, although it's not too challenging. Let's call it a 2 MOA target at 150. And you've got 4 shots to put on that from a difficult position. And then you move on to a 200-yard target, but that one is 6 MOA. Well, you know what? I would sacrifice a little bit of stability on the first ones and go collect my points on that 200. Obviously, pending reasonable wind, but it's not always the first target that's going to pay up the most. And carefully going through your course of fire will allow you to spot and have a game plan going into it.
Yeah,
not sure we're still on fundamental, but strategy.
Strategy, yeah. But it's a very good point because we've decided we don't have the time to fundamentally be sound and get everything off. You look at it and say, yeah, I'm just gonna shoot, and then we're gonna get to that big target and get our points. Whereas for Kevin and I, we can't afford that. Because if I just shoot and I miss that 2 MOA target and he gets it, guess what? Yeah,
you're in fourth.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, no, but that's a very valid point outdoor shooter.
Yeah.
Also, I think like a lot of the bigger matches, the course of fire they publish is intentionally vague, right? Like they might give you the target distances and the sizes, but they might not tell you how you're using the barricade specifically. So on that note, I think like something like the ORPS, the Outlaw Rimfire Precision Series courses of fire, are a lot more plainly laid out. And I think those ones are better for beginners to go through, because you'll read some of the CRPS courses of fire. You can't really mimic it in your basement because you don't know how you're using the barricade. So just keep that in mind.
That is true.
I think it was the Eastern final last year. The target size weren't published ahead. That was a tough one.
Yeah, the last match we shot. Go on, Kevin.
No, I was just saying that even if you don't have, I don't want anybody to think that because you don't have the barricade or you don't know what the barricade is, we can't go through a process. If they say it's three positions are three positions. It takes roughly the same amount of time to move from here to there, up or down. It doesn't really matter. So just practice movement, because ultimately it's that action that's going to take the time. It doesn't matter what you're shooting from.
If someone wants to practice, like the best prop that everyone has is a dining room chair.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Probably because you can spin that 180, 90 degrees. You can lie it on its back and find different positions. I mean, the goal there is to get into position and get on target, a stable target, while you're in a firing position, and then dry fire. That's really the goal. So you can put one target up, three targets, just basically just little dots on the wall, right? Little stickers, and just practice acquiring them. Again, just time yourself that you get a timer, pretend to engage them, and transition from one to the other. That's all you're trying to do, is build that muscle memory of how to get into a stable shooting position, and also looking at natural point of aim. Obviously, it's hard to describe how to do that, but again, attend a Maple Seed course and you'll see what it's all about. And then when you're practicing, then you'll know what you're supposed to be looking for, I guess. Yeah.
Sorry, Matt, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna give like what you mentioned there is true. Like you don't need to know exactly how you're using it, but just for example, like you don't want to get so set in your mind, okay, I'm gonna shoot the stage one way. You get there, it's actually something different, and you're prepared to do it wrong, right? You don't want to be in that scenario. But you're right in terms of the movement. Yeah, I agree with that.
Is there a next topic? I'm not sure what.
I was just thinking, it's not really fundamentals, but goals.
Yeah.
Like, why are you practicing fundamentals? It's work. Just go out and shoot, have fun. Promote to the mat. If you place third from the bottom, who cares? You had fun, right? But I think we all have goals, and whether we want to admit it or not, we actually do want to know how we stack up against the other guys. We might not say it because we don't want to look like we care that we're not doing as good as we wish we would, but we're competitive. That's
I think that's the hard thing for a lot of people is people when you come into your first match, and people say I don't really care how I place, but it does. All you have to do in your mind to feel better is that some of these guys have been shooting this series since day one. So this is their fourth year into the game. So they've had 4 years of experience ahead of you. Your goal there is to have fun and shoot it safely and learn what you need to work on for the next match and slowly climb it. If you want to climb, I think everyone wants to do better. I mean, no one wants to, to have a lousy time, but I think if you have the right approach, you can have a great time and still and have something to build on. I think that's the thing. And that's my big fear is people who get discouraged. And that's what would make me feel bad is somebody shoots the mask and says, "Oh, this is not for me." It's what a shitty way to spend the day, So,
and I think that's what leads perfectly into our the report card. So it goes and tracks everyone based on all their matches, so not just their best three, like the series points that we're using for seeing who's the best in Canada, we'll say. but it's looking at your average. So for me, I have bad matches, I have good matches. So my average then can be lower than somebody else who shoots one match and does very well. But you can look through there and you can see here's the guys that are shooting multiple matches in a year. And I could share my screen, I guess, and show it if it's of interest. This idea of small goals.
Yeah.
If you're mid pack and
You gonna share your screen?
yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do it while talking, and that doesn't work.
Yeah. I'll put focus on you and add more stress.
Well, I'm gonna say while John is looking for this
That one?
Yeah, that one. Can you see it though?
It's
a
kind
little small.
of blurry.
Just give me a second here. Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
You can see it? Okay. So this is in my spreadsheet, but this chart is on the CRPS website. This is actually 2021. I don't think we've put the new one up.
No.
For the 2021 season. So you can go back and look at your 2022 stuff if you'd like. But we have the A class and the B class. There's C and D. And C and D are your biggest classes. No, not this year. Last year it was. And B is also a large class as well. And I would say on average, people are going to end up, if they shoot more than 1 year, the first year you're probably going to be a D class. You're learning so much stuff. That's okay. So don't look at Kevin or the two Kevins, I guess, are at the top here, and say I'm going to go there. Because it's too big of a step for you, and you're going to feel failure. You're not going to do it. I'm sorry, but we can come down and. Here's our big D class. So you decide I want to make it. You're somewhere down here. I want to make it to C. That's your next goal. It's attainable. You can do this, and a bit of dry fire practice. Work on your positional. Just a bit of work, and the next thing you know, you're going to be a C class shooter, and we've done this. We've got there. We're into C. And now you say, who's in the top of C? And we got David and Jason, Rick, these 63, 62, 60. It's all pretty close. So that's your next goal. You're going to get to the top of C. And
hey, so I just need to screw up a couple of matches. Then I can be top of C.
and then you get to B. And I believe through observation and going through numbers from the multiple years, if you put a lot of work into your fundamentals and your process, you will become a B class shooter, and you will be better than average. Like without a doubt, B class is better than average. A class is going. Between the A class and the B class shooter, I honestly do not believe the A class are better shooters. It's now a mental game, and that's what's going to separate there. So as a B class shooter, you are as good, I believe, as A, but do you want to win that bad, or do you want to have fun being a very good shooter in B class? That is this thing of where your goals, and don't make them too big. Just keep working your way up, and you'll be surprised how far you'll climb. But I think Kevin was going to say something.
No, actually, well, I was going to say I really like this A, B, C. And I remember. Can you define A, B, C, D? Like,
yes.
Because I'm not sure.
So the A class, if you shoot 80%,
okay,
or better,
based. Yeah,
it's percentage. So you got your series points you get on a match, right? So if you win a match to 100, it works on the series points.
Yeah.
So it takes your average series points for all of your matches. And then I'm just gonna.
So is it bell curved in a way then?
So no, but your top 20% is A class, and then the B class.
So if it's relative to other shooters, it would be bell curved, right?
Well, it's not. We're not taking the top 20 shooters. We're taking, if you are averaging 80% of first place on all of the matches you attend, then you are going to be an A class. But if you're averaging 65% to 80%, then you're going to be, that's for the 2020 stats. Then you're going to be B class, and C is 50% to 65%. And then D class is 50% and down. So that would be 50% of the hits that the top guy made at the match.
Okay, so it's relative to the top shooter, which makes sense.
Yeah,
okay.
So it cleans up all the noise from different courses of fire.
So as this grows, and at some point we're going to have to say you don't get a report card unless you've shot 2 matches. Because if we go to 2022, we got Aaron, he's on the top there with 100 points, but he shot 1 match. So it's not a 100%. I don't know how to say this properly, but don't get too worried about the guys at the top. They got 100% because they shot 1 match. If they shot a second match,
but he won though. But he won that match though.
You got to give it.
I mean, you still think about him.
if he's like me, he might, place 19th at the next one, right?
No, not Aaron, man. He's a nice man.
Okay.
He's not like you, John. He doesn't fold. He doesn't choke.
He doesn't choke under pressure.
He doesn't choke under pressure. No, sorry, buddy.
So
that report card's really cool, though. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So to get a little bit of an idea how this can affect standings, when we look at the series points and the race for the top, last year I placed at 11th, but I shot 5 matches.
Wait, did you end up beating me last year, John? Did you beat me?
So.
Did you eat me
No,
up?
I got 5 matches last year. But if I go into the report card, it takes all of my matches, my good and my bad. I'm down at 34th.
Holy!
Because the championship, I wrecked. So that's going to be in the report card because this is how consistent of a shooter you are, right?
Right.
And we can look at like Kevin Guyette. He shot 5 as well, and he's at 14th.
Yeah.
But he was a more consistent shooting. So this report card is looking at the whole picture, not just your So I think it's a good way for guys it's just looking at your performance.
Exactly.
Make small goals. And if you are okay being a B class or a C or a D, that's good. Then you're just competing within your buddy group, right?
Exactly. And that's I mean, so I agonized a long time about, what's the value, right? Is it another way to find out how bad I shoot? No, the numbers are there for you to the numbers are there for you to try and improve those numbers, right? Your hit percentage.
If you want to, you don't have to want to do it.
But it's there but I think most of the guys are saying, well, the leaderboard doesn't help me, right? It just shows me where I am relative to the good guys. But now when you look at the report card, you've got enough stats there to be able to manage your own performance and say, okay, am I doing better or worse than my average? And the goal is, again, if you want to move forward, that's the tool that we would recommend you to look at to see those incremental improvements. So keep track of where you are in every match, where you end up after that, right? And again, don't miss anything less than 150 yards, right? If you're giving up 80% hits on those, then there's something wrong with the fundamentals.
Unless it's a spinner off a boat, then you can miss that. right, Kevin?
Spinner off a boat. Wait, is that directed to me?
No, I'm just saying, like, because
so.
I missed a lot of shots on that stage, so I'm trying to make myself feel better because it was at 87 yards, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. That was actually very difficult. I'm trying to figure out who this person who said, Rick, are you saying you suck?
That's Tim Crosno, I think, from Appleseed Buddy from Texas.
Understood.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
From Texas, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, super nice guy.
All right, now that there's a little lull here, gentlemen, I'm gonna have to say, you guys have.
I'm gonna get your beauty sleep.
Oh yeah.
I've got to still go make myself dinner and then
Gets up. Have a good night.
Thank you very much,
Kevin.
See you guys later.
See you,
Take
Kevin.
it easy.
See ya.
Bye.
See you sometime.
See you, John.
So I'm still looking for my name on this report card. I'm at 100. Whew. Oh, and it keeps going. I've seen everybody I know so far. Was that?
Is that the 2021?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Let me take a look. I think 2020, I only shot 2 matches, right?
Oh, I saw you go by like at 32 or something. You were 6 pages ago. Yeah. Good. Let me see.
Let's see where.
But he wasn't at 32, in case you're wondering. But
where am I? Jeez.
Maybe you're not there.
If you just do the search at the top, Thomas.
Yeah. I just found myself 128. There we go. That's the number.
So what's the difference between class standings and overall standings?
There's no connection.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
class will be production, I guess.
No.
The class standing is within your ABC.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
If you're 5th in class D or whatever. Yeah. And then if you want to look over and say, okay, where do I stand in the overall? You can look at the overall.
So 128 sounds pretty terrible, but I take this with a smile because...
Way to go, Thomas. Way to go.
Because
never give up.
The first year I shot, and I've got, how many matches did I get? Last year was 4. The year before that was 3. And I shot an average of 44%. And my goal for the year, I shit you not, was to break 50%. Well, guess what? I finished at 53.34.
That's awesome,
go, man.
And that's what John was talking about, small steps.
Yeah.
You did 54.6. What?
I see 53.34 here.
Yeah.
Am I reading the wrong thing?
And you, where do you place? You said
128. Yeah.
Where's Jerry Dan's place?
Yeah, that's true. Let's see where he finished.
I only shot 2.
123.
John, you're so cruel. You're so cruel.
So
that's
for
okay.
the guys that don't know, Thomas was first in production in 2020, and Jerry was second.
By and by such a short little margin.
But we look here, and Jerry actually got more consistently.
There you go, Jerry. I got it.
Oh man,
that's awesome.
Oh, that's brutal. I got nothing here. I got nothing.
Oh man.
Oh.
No, it was a great season.
Yeah.
Oh, it's brutal. All right. Anything else, guys, on fundamentals? So the stats are there for you to measure and monitor yourself. It's not, you can use it to compare yourself with others, but really the goal is to help you find a way to measure and track your performance and your improvements. So, yeah. Rob's saying, I'm hoping to have more production shooters to compete with this year. Me too. I mean, we keep upping the opportunity for people, but I think people just like nice gear. So they just opt to spend a little more. But CZ457 synthetic or Tikka T1, you can't beat those two, or Savage Mark II or Savage B22 Precision, right? That's $699.
Precision isn't. Precision
it's not. It's not. No, you're right. Yeah,
just the normal B22.
Normal B22,
which is a fantastic rifle. There's no.
Yeah.
That's what got Thomas his first place. There was the B22.
Right.
There you go.
Exactly. Well, Savage did the work. But on the subject of the number of production shooters, I've seen just running our ORPS a pretty large increase. I mean, from basically 2 to 6. So that's, threefold boost.
Also keep in mind the larger matches will generally have less production shooters anyway, because more serious shooters tend to go to the big matches.
Yeah, but
right?
we've seen a few. Warren Field had more production shooters than we're used to seeing, if I remember correctly. So
cool.
I think it's trending in the right direction.
Yeah. It's also like you don't want to fall into the misunderstanding that better guns get you better places. Just the top guys are just buying nicer gear, so it looks like the Voodoos are out shooting the Savages, right?
It would be a lot of fun one of these days to have a match where we just, I don't know, maybe we Savage sponsors it or something, but we get, like in sailing, this is the boat.
Spec race.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah. I think I've got enough 1022 loaner rifles we could have a match with just 1022s.
That'd be pretty cool.
The Maple Seed, we'll call it the Maple Seed equipment match. Cool.
Exactly.
All right.
Or I'm sure there's enough people with, a Mark II in their safe that we could probably throw an event just with that. So
I've got one.
I sold mine too, John, last year.
I've still got mine. My varmint.
I gotta fund this other stuff somehow, right?
So you're gonna
did you
do it
trade
by
your Savage for a Minox? Is that
that was a good deal.
Well, it's because it was John's old Savage, so it's got provenance.
That's right.
He sold the Antiques Roadshow. This was once owned by John.
It probably needs a new barrel. No, actually, that one I didn't shoot much.
Okay.
I never kept track. I have no idea. On fundamentals.
Yeah, fundamentals. Again, update the Vortex Marksman challenges are on the website on the front page. Down below, you should see it as an option. And Matt, are you testing in Matt? Just below the additional info, there's a rule book, and then there's Vortex Marksmanship Challenge, which is the easiest way.
Oh yeah.
So it's I'll share this. I'll share the screen.
Yeah, I see it. Right above the Outlaw badge.
So it's down below, right here. Okay, everyone got that? Thanks, Chris, for reminding me. All right, so it's there now. Again, you don't have to post it anywhere, but it's hard to manage that way. But again, just use it, shoot it, have fun with it, and practice that way. Cool.
Yeah, practice cannot be overstated.
Yeah.
But I think right alongside that, it's important to know what your goals are, because don't take somebody else's goals and use them for yourself, and take the fun out of it. It's very, very important that you maintain the fun aspect of this competing. And if you're not an ultra competitive driven person, then trying to be A class is probably not the best thing for you to try.
Yeah.
Because like I was saying, the B class shooters, I really do believe they can shoot and do shoot as good as A class. That rest is mental and a lot of pressure.
And see, that's kind of what I did for when I wanted to get into service rifle. Was I started shooting club level matches until I figured out what it took to get better, and where I sucked I practiced, and I eventually got to provincial matches, and then figured out where I sucked, and then once I did fairly well in Quebec, I started shooting the Ontario provincial, and then once I started doing well there, I said, okay, it's time to go and shoot Connaught and do the national level, and discovered what I needed to fix there.
Were you one of those guys that when Ryan showed up, he was like, no, you're not here? No. Or you weren't that far up?
No, actually, Ryan was the guy that got me into service rifle.
So yeah.
It was like meeting your idol. It was like, oh my God, it's Ryan Stacy. It's Ryan Stacy. Hey, Ryan.
Yeah, I've talked to him on the phone a few times. It'd be a lot of fun to shoot with him. I think.
It's a blast.
It could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we are on a 4-man team together, so
yeah,
it's like, yes, I finally got a medal.
Yeah.
So
right, the coattails.
That's right. Hey, buddy. My dad always surround yourself by people better and smarter than you. You can't go wrong. There you go. So that's why you guys are here. You brought the average IQ.
Honest.
You brought the average IQ of the CRBS staff by, orders of magnitude, quite a bit. So, yeah, again, like you said, set realistic and achievable goals, and then have a plan to achieve those goals. Right? Just wanting it isn't going to be enough. You got to have a plan to address it. And if you don't have the marksmanship fundamentals, sign up for a Maple Seed course. MapleSeedRifleman.com is where you need to go. And I think, do I have it? Yeah. MapleSeedRifleman.com. So I know the schedules are opening up. We just had our senior instructors call this week. So with the restrictions lifting, we're going to be setting up more and more all across Canada, from New Brunswick all the way to BC. So stay tuned for that. Okay. Anything else, guys? That was it for me. It's the
well. There's a lot more, but it's like you say, like training, like that's and you can't. Like there is some very good video formats that you can do.
Yep.
Frank Galley has his. As part of Sniper has Hide.
That's true.
You got Jake Vibert. It's very competition oriented. Like, there's numerous out there that are good.
Yeah.
But it still is not the same as having someone actually see you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Phil Vallejo's another nice guy.
Yes, Phil and Kalen with Modern Day Sniper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just released their they call it the Master Class.
There you go.
This week, I think it was end of last week. Yeah, I didn't buy it, so I can't speak to that one.
I'm too cheap.
Yeah.
I have realistic goals. I'm just there to have fun and shoot safe.
I do expect that they'll be very very detailed, going by like Phil's other videos that he's posted here and there.
He's pretty good. I like his style.
Yep.
I can relate to his style. I can see me adopting that approach, with a checklist and the whole thing. So
yeah,
it's good.
There's a lot of details that go into it, and those details are hard to tell. They have to be shown.
Yeah,
but they do make a difference. So don't be afraid to ask people. If a guy's going up to shoot, maybe don't ask him, but watch him and video people better than you, and try to replicate it. Some people find it natural to imitate others, and you can get a lot of good pointers. You see a shooter that it's like he's going so slow, but he still doesn't time out. Well, maybe that's a key, right? He's not wasting movement. He's not rushing. He's not fumbling. He's just running an easy pace. So, and you can see it. The proof is right there. It works.
Yeah.
Don't rush.
Yeah.
I've thought of doing it, Rob. I'm not sure where it's all going to go. There is a group of guys that I'm going to do some private training for here in the near future, and I would enjoy setting up a proper training day, helping people get equipment set up, and going through it, strictly looking at CRPS style competitions. We'll leave the positional unsupported stuff to Rick. I'm going to stay out of that. But yes, I'm thinking about it, Rob, and hopefully we can get something going sometime.
Yeah, once the restrictions lift, it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I encourage all the match directors to set up the day before as a demo day or a tune-up day for new shooters to come out and try it out. And the format you set up, John, was great, where you had instructors at fixed stages, and then the squads would cycle through. I think that worked really well.
Yeah, I'd be thinking to do something less guys and a whole lot more detailed and focused, more like Ryan and Ken used to do.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Until Ryan jumped ship and went west.
Yeah.
He's a traitor.
For understandable reasons.
Very understandable reasons. Yeah.
I do the same in a heartbeat. I do the same thing in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Now Ryan was very good at that. So I guess there's guys here in the West that listen to this too. I don't know if Ryan is going to do any training out there or not. I thought he did a very good way of presenting it. It was simple to understand and follow, and he's a good guy to work with. So if he does do some training, I would recommend him for sure.
That's it. All right, gentlemen. I think that's a wrap.
I'm talked out, I think.
Yeah. Thank you guys for your contribution to the fundamentals of marksmanship and how it pertains to the rimfire competitions. I want to thank Asmir and Miriam at testro.ca for their gracious support of the Rimfire Nation podcast. I want to thank you, our participants. I know that we haven't had a lot of stuff going on right now, but as soon as the restrictions lift, I'll be rescheduling all of the matches that had been postponed because of the lockdowns all across Canada. The schedule's been impacted, so I'm working on some things that could alleviate some of that. I know that the BC guys, Alex is setting up the field matches out in Merritt, so that's pretty exciting, and hopefully that trend continues all across Canada. So looking forward to it. So thanks to you all for tuning in. Any shout outs, guys? Matt, John, or Tom?
Nothing specific.
No? All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Have a good one.
See you on the firing line. Take it easy.